Welcome to Golf Talk, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about extreme summer weather conditions. We'll also be discussing current and future events. I'm your host, Pat White, and joining me today is Casey Flenniken, our Director of Golf, and Wells McClure, our Director of Course Maintenance. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
So, this summer has been a summer of extremes, Casey.
It has.
And I'm going to get both of you on this summer of extremes.
Yep.
We started off slow. We had cool weather. Bermuda grass wouldn't grow primarily at Kahiti. And then we had a series of weeks of drought and hot weather. How's that affected rounds?
So we saw some of the hotter temperatures during that drought, right? And so we had hot temperatures, dry weather. But rounds, we continued, without the rainfall, we continued to see rounds go up and up and up. Obviously, 2023 is our historic year, with us doing almost 117,000 rounds. But year to date, Pat, we've played 65,000 rounds across our 3 golf courses. Exactly 65,000. I thought that was interesting.
That is.
In our round count. And that is about 1,500 rounds behind where last year was. You know, going back all the way to January, we were closed for upwards of 10 days for the ice and snow cover. And then due to some of we had, I think Wells told me the other day, between 7 and 8 inches of rain. It kind of varies based on which course you're at, just in the last week and a half there of July. So rounds were still up in July, up about 2,000 rounds, which is amazing for all the rainfall we had. Again, kudos to the staff, right? They continue to pump rounds. We drive customer service, and our patrons are supporting the golf operation.
Well, let me ask you, and I don't know if you brought this number around, you 15,000 below last year?
Yep.
1,500.
1,500, not
Yep.
15,000, excuse me. That's
you're fine.
almost all of last year. So how does that relate to what you budgeted through the same period?
Yeah, so we're still above budget. So our biggest threat to the entire golf operation, I think Wells will agree with this as well, is weather, right? We could have a catastrophic weather event come through and there is no golf, right? So we're careful with the budget, but this year is also 100,000 rounds budgeted, which is the highest budgeted number of rounds ever in Tellico golf history.
Outstanding. Let's roll over to the summer weather with you, Wells.
Yeah.
How's this affected you and your team?
Well, it's kind of been a roller coaster this year. You know, looking back in May, it was cool. It was, it was nice to be out in, but it wasn't great for our golf courses kind of waking up from the kind of harsh winter we had. We had over 11 inches of rain in various parts of the village. I think we were more like 9 here in May, and Kahiti had 11. And then starting about the June 13th or something like the first week of June, we got like a 1/4 inch of rain, and then we didn't get any more rain again until July 21st. Right. In that period, we had 5 weeks of just relentless heat. No real reprieve with our nighttime temperatures, which our Bermuda grass really needs, or our bent grass really needs, our greens. But we had this just major drought, and if you look back, it's easy to forget kind of how good we had it last year. And I said at the end of last year, like, man, it's one of the easiest summers I think we've ever had. I don't think we checked greens in the afternoon after July 4th last year for the whole rest of the year. We check them every morning. But I was looking back, in June, July, and the first 10 days of August last year, we had 16 days above 90. This year we had 41. And within that 41, there was very few breaks. It was just, 90, 90, 95, 97, just relentless heat. We were running irrigation at all 3 golf courses every night for 5 or 6 hours, basically irrigating the whole golf course. And then July 21st, the rain started. We put our hoses on the rack, put our moisture meters away, turned the irrigation off, and didn't even think about watering the golf course for 2.5 weeks. So it's just kind of been a roller coaster up and down all year, and now we're kind of in this dry period again. They're calling for a little bit of rain this weekend, but we kind of adjust as the year goes on. When we're in that really dry spell, the greens can get really dialed in because we can control our moisture. Our disease pressure is pretty low. We do have to kind of change our mower setup a little bit to be a little conservative when it gets that hot. So like at Tenacity, Tokwa, we were seeing a little more stress on our greens, some thinning in some walk-on, walk-off areas and around some hole locations. So we had to change our height of cut just a few thousandths of an inch, which doesn't sound like much, but when we go from 0.120 to 0.130, it makes a big difference.
Sure.
And we'll put a different roller on the mower to be a little less aggressive, a smooth roller as opposed to a grooved roller. We may messed with our fertility a little bit. Back in June, we were running them pretty lean. Ball roll was like 10.5 every day. It was great. But we started getting a little thin, so we had to increase our fertility to kind of grow some of that stuff in. So, it's very hard to be consistent green speed every single day unless your weather's just perfect. And in Tellico, especially at Tenacity and Kahiti, the greens are small, have a lot of slope. You get much over 10 feet, and they can get pretty tough.
It's get unfair.
I tell you what, what's a good segue? Let's, for viewers at home, kind of explain what you mean by 10 feet, because they might not understand kind of what you're going for on the stimp meter.
Right. So you may watch any PGA event, and they'll give you the stimp reading. And what that is, it's just a metal
ramp
plank,
thing,
like a ramp. Yeah, and at the top it's a notch. You put a ball in it, and you raise that ramp, and the way that notch is built, it's supposed to fall off at a certain point. And when it does, again, you're supposed to find a very flat spot on the green that's not uphill, not downhill, which at Tenacity can be very tough. And we've only got a few spots on greens where you can get almost an equal roll both directions without any variance left or right. But you'll roll 3 balls, measure it, say it's 11 feet going one direction. You'll mark where you started, go, take the average. One goes 10, one goes 11, one goes 12. So it's 11 feet that way. And then you start there, roll 3 back the other direction, say it goes 9 feet. So 11 and 9 is 20, and so we'll say 10 feet's our green speed for the day.
Got it.
Yeah, and sometimes, tournament play, we can get them a little faster. I think member guests this year, Tellico and Kahiti, were both up around 11, which is pretty quick. But for our daily play, with the slope we have on greens, anywhere between, I'd like to see 10 feet just off a single mow, nothing extra. And if we have a tournament or the MGA, or we see you're coming out to play, Pat, we'll put a roller on them and speed them up a little bit. But it's it kind of varies with what you're doing culturally, what you're doing with your fertility, with your mowers, when did you top dress last, how much humidity's in the air, all that stuff makes a difference.
Well, also number of players too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a testament to how good our agronomy teams are. But we actually went out yesterday to play 9 holes and talk about golf and look at the golf course at Tenacity, and I can hear it. I think I looked at you. Somebody hit a chip shot or a pitch shot, and I could hear the dum instead of just almost a collapse in some of the soil that you'll see sometimes at other facilities. Really, it's a nice thud, which means underneath that plant is very healthy.
And it's also not that click as if it was coming off asphalt or around the tree root or something.
Yep. It's got to be a fair, forgiving green.
Okay. Casey, I had an experience this summer that I've never had before.
Okay.
I've got 2 of my younger granddaughters, 9 and 8, maybe 8 and 7.
Yep.
With keeping up with birthdays. Alice is good with that. But they went to golf camp for the first time.
Awesome.
What an experience. They loved golf camp.
Good.
And as I'm sitting around with the other parents, every one of those parents and every one of those kids were just excited to watch their kids participate in this. And then I'm watching your pros. What a great job they did relating to the kids, simplifying to the ones that just started, like my granddaughters. Getting a little more experience teaching with the ones that are repeater in golf camp. What does it take to put that on? It had to be a massive event. Yeah, and
it runs so smooth it seems like it's nothing, right? But it's kind of a 2-part thing, because within that week we have to thank our membership first, because we close the driving range and the practice areas so that the juniors can enjoy that area. But we're also, Wells and his team at Tellico, they're doing normal golf course maintenance. They're mowing that range out on Monday after the camp. The Tellico cart staff is having to get range balls, get everything ready. We're picking extra balls because so many balls are hit. There's merchandise ordered for the kids. The food and beverage team has to go off without a hitch on Friday, as we have a lunch with upwards of 120 people, including the juniors, the parents, the grandparents, any other spectators or siblings that might be there. We run 3 different sessions. They're an hour and 15 minutes each. So you get 5 hours of instruction, which is Monday through Thursday, and then you also have a tournament on Friday. And after the tournament, all the kids come back in. We have the younger kids play 5 holes, the medium level kids play 7, and then the older high school kids get to play 9 holes. Everybody comes back to the pavilion about 11 o'clock. We do lunch, we do awards, they eat ice cream, we take pictures, they have a ball, So it's a great event. It's always the second week in July. So the sign-ups will open up for that April 1st of 2025. It's $200, which is a really good price considering what all you get. I mean, as I said, 5 hours of instruction. My daughter went, And the gift bag alone, I was like, goodness gracious.
I know.
And she loved it, you know.
And the medal that they got.
Oh, they got the medal, and a lot of the parents and grandparents tell me the medal is everything,
Yeah,
right?
it was.
That's like the number one thing
It
that they really want. And so it's just great to see a lot of the younger kids come in that week, and the smile on the grandparents' faces. A lot of them are get their grandkids for the week, and so it's a great collaborative effort. Shout out to the golf professionals that run that. It's hot, you know, standing out there all day with the kids, and you're grinding a lot of them because a lot of them don't really know how to play. So it's a mental grind to kind of get through that, and you know, you got to be careful because they're 7, 8 years old and they're running around. You know how it goes. So it's fun though.
Well, I want to make sure that your pros hear it from a parent. They're teaching us, Tellico villagers and anybody else that comes in, that are golfers or learning to play golf, have the physical ability, and then my granddaughters show up and they don't even know how to hold a golf club.
Yep, absolutely.
Or their hands change from one grip to the next. One wants to hit it left-handed, one wants to hit it right-handed, then they change back.
Yep.
And the frustration that your pros must be experiencing to go from one level of teaching to another, I noticed they were so good with those kids.
Yeah,
and
patience.
I want to thank them for that.
Patience is at an all-time high for sure.
Yeah.
But at that age, they're sponges. You know,
Yeah.
if you'll give them the correct grip and some proper fundamentals, it'll serve them a lifetime, really, if they'll stay in it. So it's awesome. And what's really cool, and I've been here almost 10 years now, and there was a little girl she came up through, and her name's Addison, and she came up through, and I'm like, she's like, this is my last year. And it just hit me. I was like, she's been here since she was 7.
Yeah.
And she's done. Like, we've pushed her through all the way, and she's a senior, you know, and she's going to go off and maybe play college golf. So it's really neat to kind of meet these kids when they're young and see them through.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. Well, thank you very much for doing
absolutely.
that, you and your staff. So, Wells, we just had a storm event come through. Not only have we had this weird summer with hot, drought, cold, cool, grass won't grow, but this wind condition comes down, and we lost a number of trees at Tokwa. One's laying in the pond on 10. How do you adjust a normal daily routine that you've got a plan for, and then you have, how many trees fell?
15.
And then how do you do that?
You know, you just kind of do the best you can. I mean, it was on a Tuesday, so we all had events that day. Tenacity, we had 2.5 inches of rain at Tenacity, a little bit of wind, a lot of small stuff. Thankfully, we didn't lose any trees. We delayed tee times at Tenacity, I think 30 minutes or an hour. And then I guess it was on a Tuesday afternoon, so it was Wednesday morning tee times were affected. And then Tokwa actually ended up getting 3.5 inches of rain, and they have a weather station close by that a property owner's got, and it's online. They were able to look at the high wind, and they clocked a 58-mile-an-hour wind.
I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah, and it's just some straight line winds. You know, I talked to a friend of mine at Wind River, and they got 1.25 inches of rain and virtually no wind. So I mean, Tokwa was just right in the line. If you looked at it on the radar, it was just a thick purple cell that went right through Tokwa neighborhood. And you know, you just do the best you can. You kind of prioritize. I think that morning, John knew the front 9 was not going to be playable. They had a tree over the path on 8. They had a huge tree down on 6 that was, I mean, an oak that's been here longer than Tokwa has been here. You know, it's a really, really big tree. They had a big kind of Woodamaker hanging over the cart path on 6, going to 7. So they knew the front 9 was not going to be playable. Like, we got to close it, safety issues, got to get some trees cleaned up. They went to the back and did their best, worked hard to get the surfaces cleaned off, bunkers repaired, and greens mowed, cups changed, and they ended up letting 9 holes play that day.
By 10 o'clock, by 10 a.m.
Yeah, by 10, tee times went off the back 9 at Tokwa. So, you know, they just kind of start on one end, and he had a couple guys just still focusing on some mowing and getting the course prepped, and then probably over half of his crew focused on tree cleanup. As soon as Tenacity got through their morning duties, we took 5 or 6 guys over there and a trailer and some chainsaws and just kind of all worked together to get it cleaned up, and they're still cleaning up over there.
Well, I was just going to say, I think they're still over there. At least that tree in the pond is still there.
The tree in the pond is still there. They got the tree on 6 cleaned up earlier this week. We ended up having to rent a chipper. And any tree that we can get ourselves, we do. But anything that's a safety issue or leaning towards a house, we contract that out. We're just the risk isn't worth it. You know, we have some guys that are really good with chainsaws and dropping trees, but why risk it?
Right.
You know, guys that do it every day for a living are who we're going to call when it's an issue like that. So yeah, there's still a tree in the pond on 10.
Pond in the tree?
A pond in the tree. That's what it looks like. It's a big tree.
Big tree.
And we've had our contractor come out and look at it, and he brought a piece of equipment he thought could maybe get it out, and it couldn't move it. So they think possibly it's a pine tree. They think the limbs are probably dug into the bank. That pond's not very deep. So it may sit there a little while. You know, it's not anybody's way. And our plan is probably just to try to drain that pond down, go out there, cut it up in sections, and pull it out.
Yeah.
You know, but that's going to take some time. But, you know, with that wind, that was kind of the back end of the rain event that we really needed. You know, we talked earlier about the drought in June. And at our June golf talk, Kahiti was still in pretty rough shape.
Right.
A lot of people were concerned. Some folks were thinking we're going to have to close certain holes for the year or resprig or sod vast amount of areas. Just hats off to Jordan and his staff. They've really worked hard this year, and our patrons too. They've obeyed traffic rules, stayed off of bad spots. Yeah. Jordan's done a lot of extra fertilizer, aerified, done things to grow it in. And beginning of the year, I mean, it looked like there was acres upon acres of grass that was not going to come back.
And that was due to that freak weather event.
Yeah, that was
up here with snow and didn't snow down there.
The ice event at Kahiti. So in total, they grew in probably 98% of what looked really bad, and we ended up buying 53 pallets of sod, which sounds like a lot, but when you break it down to the numbers, that's less than 0.7. It's less than 7/10 of an acre, 0.67 acres, 500 square feet on a pallet. But I mean, just hats off to his guys. They've worked hard all summer, and they take pride in that golf course. And it's just so devastating to come out of the spring, fired up for the summer, and then you're looking at grass that's just going to be really slow to come back. And thankfully, the guys at UT came out, and we looked at some stuff under the surface, and they felt like there was a lot of life in the roots and rhizomes and stolons under the top. So the majority of it came back, and I think by our next Golf Talk episode in September, it'll be really good. 'Cause we got another good 4 or 5 weeks of growing weather that it should continue to mature.
Good.
Yep.
So, Wells, this is not a question. Typically, I ask the questions, you guys give the answers, but this is not a question. This is my 19th year in Tellico Village. We've seen everything from course rebuild at Tokwa, bunker rebuilds in all 3 courses. We've seen snow events, rain events. But over the last couple of years, I've never seen these courses this good, this consistent. And like Casey in the golf camp wanted his guys to hear this and from the golfers to say thank you, I want to say how much we, the golfers, appreciate you keeping these up. And I know during a drought season, it is so hard to manage the height, the watering, and all that. And then you turn around and it starts raining again.
Yep. And
then it gets cool again. And then it gets hot again. And just thanks for keeping them up because they are gorgeous courses.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Pat. And you know, hats off to the members of Tellico Village. I mean, if we didn't have the support to do what we needed to do on these golf courses, to purchase the equipment we needed, the materials we need, the fertilizer we need, the staff we need, then, you know, the courses wouldn't be what they are either. So, you know, the outpouring of support from the residents in Tellico Village, the board, the golf committee, the finance committee, I mean, it all kind of works together to provide good conditions consistently, and we've been afforded that support for going on 10 years now, and it's finally starting to kind of pay off year in and year out, and the golf courses are just consistently good, and that's just with, you know, the support we have and the teams that we have, support on both ends. It's really helped out.
Well, for the golfers, if you see somebody in maintenance, give them a shout out, say thanks, and for you guys, make sure you tell your guys how much we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So Casey, back to you. Give us a calendar update, please, sir.
Absolutely. So as we end out August, on Friday, August 23rd at Kahiti, there'll be a tailor-made demo day.
Okay.
That's going to be from 12 to 4. And Pat, I've got a demo day, a Titleist demo day that I got a new driver, Pat. It's called the Titleist GT, stands for Generational Technology. You've seen Lucas Forstrom, the assistant golf professional at Tenacity, sending all kinds of emails out. I had it 12 yards further. All I did was take my old TSR head out and put the new GT head in on the same shaft 12 yards. Pretty amazing. And then I hit the 3-wood 15 yards further. It's mind-blowing to me. So our members, Titleist is coming out. We get it kind of a couple weeks earlier, and some other clubs are getting it. We're going to have one on Tuesday, August 27th. There'll be a free fitting day. The tech rep will be here for Titleist. That'll be Tuesday the 27th at Tokwa.
Did you say free?
Free. Come on out. Get fit. And then Friday, August 30th, there'll be another one. That'll be at Kahiti. Saturday, August 31st, we have the Kiwanis event at Tokwa.
Okay.
And then as we move into September, we've got 44 golf events in the month of September across 3 golf courses. 36 of those are member events, whether that's league or some kind of Tellico event that we're running. The highlight of one of those 36 is actually Friday, September 20th and Saturday the 21st is the LGA 18 member guest. So
Right.
looking forward to their
Big
event.
event.
It is. They bring in their friends from all over.
Yeah.
There's people coming from New York. So we're looking forward to hosting those ladies, showing them what Tellico Village is all about. And then we have 8 outside events. That includes a good example, Tennessee Wesleyan ladies team who plays out at Kahidi. They're having an event. And that's a multi-day event. So it's not just the golf staff, the golf operations, the golf pros, the inside and outside staff. It's these guys. They're getting it ready. They're looking at that master calendar like hawks. We always joke, but if the master calendar is wrong, we're in bad shape, right? So, because he looks at it and our team looks at it. So, just kudos to the entire staff, right? 44 events across 3 courses in 30 days it's a lot, right? And so what we make it look like it's seamless, but it's not. It's a big operation. So kudos to everyone.
And you have events or something coming up as well.
Yep.
What
You know,
else?
like we kind of round out the summer in August, and we switch gears and really start looking forward to the fall. In our opinion, it's the best time of the year. The golf courses have matured all summer. The greens are great. They've kind of come back from any summer stress. And the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after Labor Day, we're doing our traditional yearly dry jet aerification, which is a machine that comes in. We don't actually pull the core out of the green. It's a machine that comes in, uses high pressure water, and then sand injects right behind it. So it just gives us a way to dilute that organic layer in the top section of our green without doing a whole lot of mechanical damage to the green. They're very playable the next day. So we'll be closed. Tenacity will be closed that Tuesday, Tokwa Wednesday, Kahidi Thursday.
And give me the calendar dates again.
The 3rd, 4th, and 5th of September.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after
3rd,
Labor
4th,
Day.
and 5th of September.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So we'll knock out a course each day, and Tenacity will reopen on Wednesday. And with this process, I mean, we'll drag whatever sand's left, do a quick roll on them on Wednesday morning, and they'll be really good and ready to play on Wednesday.
And typically, the only delay you have is if it's really bad weather.
Right. If something happens where we get pouring down rain and the contractor, I mean, you got to have fairly dry sand. Their machines can shoot some sand with some moisture in them, but if it's raining, that'll delay us.
And I remember in years past, there will be typically a email sent out to the golf email list.
There will be.
Yep.
Talking about it's rain or we push Tokwa up a day or whatever it is.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We appreciate you joining us this month on Golf Talk. We would also greatly appreciate you hitting the subscribe button and subscribing to TVN. Click on the little bell. You'll get notifications when TVN adds new videos to the YouTube website. And continue to add your comments in there. And we'll see you again next month.